Here at 9:05, you're watching live Impact News on your WCNC Charlotte app. All right, so the Hornets and LaMelo Ball. We know they've been the face of, or LaMelo Ball has been the face of the franchise for years, but over the past few days, trade rumors are heating up. Sports director Nick Carboni joining us on the phone right now with what's driving these talks, Nick.
Well, Jane, this took us all completely by surprise at about 11 o'clock last night, which, as you know, is an important time for us on WCNC Charlotte. It's just before our newscast. But at the end of a very quiet, second round of the NBA draft, ESPN's Shams Charania comes on screen and talks about a LaMelo Ball trade report that the team is listening to, quote, teams with aggressive offers to the Hornets for LaMelo Ball. Now, 6 or 7 months ago, when the Hornets were underperforming, LaMelo Ball was underperforming and still struggling to stay healthy, I had thought the team might be looking to make a move off of their all-star point guard this offseason. But that completely changed in January when Charlotte went on a tear, nearly made the playoffs, made the play-in, and was the best offense in the NBA, metrically, statistically, visually, for the better part of the last 4 months of the season. And LaMelo Ball is the engine that made that offense go. So this could be, Jane, a sell high moment for the Charlotte Hornets if they do indeed trade LaMelo Ball. You know, he played 72 games this year, but Hornets fans know that LaMelo Ball struggled mightily to stay on the floor for several consecutive seasons, sustaining multiple and really almost endemic ankle injuries. He fixed that this year, but does this team view that as an outlier? Does this team think this is the most we can get for LaMelo Ball right now? We believe in our younger players, Brandon Miller and Con Knipple. We believe we'll have to pay those players at some point coming up soon. Brandon Miller is on track for an extension to his contract. And LaMelo Ball costs $40 million a season, which isn't money well spent when he's not on the floor. Now, when he is, it is a pretty good deal for somebody that costs $40 million a year. And he's also eligible for an extension for another $100+ million. This would be a seismic move in the NBA. We just had the Giannis Antetokounmpo trade a couple of days ago. I think this would fit just underneath that in the biggest blockbuster of the summer so far. But, you know, for Hornets fans, they're questioning, listen, we get it 7 months ago when the team wasn't doing well and LaMelo wasn't doing well, but now things have changed. This team has made progress. It seems like he is a pivotal part of that progress. Why trade him now? The two teams reportedly most interested in acquiring LaMelo Ball seem to be Toronto and Minnesota. Looking at their rosters, there isn't a caliber of player that either team is willing to part with that would match LaMelo Ball's talent. They could offer, and likely would offer, multiple first-round picks in the future. Charlotte has a treasure trove of those already, and picks won't play on the floor in 2026, 2027. So how does this team keep the momentum going if they lose LaMelo Ball? So a complete surprise to all of us, especially with the timing here, Jane.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, under Coach Lee now, I mean, everyone's looking good, making the playoffs. Like, why now? But again, like you said, if to sell high, we got, Con and Brandon stepping up. We might actually be in good shape. So how fast could something happen here?
Well, Shams Charania put a timeline on it last night in his report on live TV. He said in the next 24 to 48 hours. So not going to lie, it was tough to go to bed last night, Jane. We're, obviously working on finding out if this is going to happen and when it's going to happen. But, as we saw with the Giannis trade, like once reports started to get out there about, teams being aggressive and a timeline, it happened very quickly. So I would not be surprised if this were to happen, that it would happen today or tomorrow. And taking a quick step back, yes, it is the Hornets simply listening to offers for LaMelo Ball, but they have listened before. There seems to be more to this report and other reporting that seem to potentially tip this into the realm of that this would happen. But like I said, how do the Hornets get better despite losing their most talented player at the moment? Con Knipple and Brandon Miller figure to be future multi-time All-Stars. They haven't been that yet. They still have development to go, and a big part of their development was LaMelo Ball creating shots and scenarios and situations for them offensively in which they could thrive. Now, the other part of this, Jane, is a lot of times in the NBA, when you get to these deals for major players, it's not just a direct flight, so to speak. It's not just Charlotte to Minnesota or Charlotte to Toronto. There are third teams involved. What other teams could get involved with this that have other players that could help sweeten the deal for the Charlotte Hornets? Because if you're going to trade LaMelo Ball, if I'm the Hornets, I don't want just more first-round picks, of which I'm already sitting on a pile of. I want players that can help me get to the playoffs right now. So it'll be interesting to see what other teams might get involved in a deal like this.
Sure. And then what do we know about LaMelo's wants? I mean, not that it matters at the end of the day, but does he want to stay in Charlotte?
Every time LaMelo Ball has been in front of a microphone and asked that exact question, he has pretty emphatically said yes. That includes in the middle of this season when there were trade reports out there about Charlotte shipping him off. And in fact, that was the most adamant I saw him about it. He also has spent the better part of every offseason, including this one, working in Charlotte, working with his teammates. That's not always the case for star players around the league. So LaMelo Ball does have this reputation of, a lack of caring about, winning, or a lack of caring about, where he is in the NBA. A lot of national talking heads want to automatically assume he wants to go home and play for one of the LA teams, but he's never said that. He's never done anything in his actions that lead you to believe he wants to be anywhere here but Charlotte. And he was a big part of this team winning that play-in game last year and nearly making the playoffs. So I don't buy into that narrative. That's a national narrative that he doesn't want to be here. For me, I will take him at his word, and he's said it many times that he does want to play his career out in Charlotte, the place that drafted him third overall in 2020. But as you said, I mean, it's a business. Ultimately, that may not end up being the case, and based on reporting from late last night into this morning, it seems more and more likely that it won't be.
I mean, so we've been here before then with the rumor mill. From where you are right now, Nick, is this just noise, draft season noise, or think about packing the bags?
I think there's an edge to this, Jane. I think there's a substance to this. This is a franchise under Hornets president of basketball operations, Charles Lee, who's responsible for making, moves like this, that a big move would be coming at some point, whether it was this summer or next summer. Whether or not that move would include LaMelo Ball has changed over the last 6 months to the point where we thought it would not, but clearly he is open to moving his all-star point guard. But there's another side to this, and that is, what if this doesn't happen? So there's enough out there, Jane, that's obviously leaked to lead me to believe that there's something to this. But what if it doesn't happen? And how does that relationship get repaired? Does it need to be repaired? Because there were already reports mid-season that LaMelo, I don't think, was very happy about. And we see in Boston what's playing out with Jaylen Brown. Boston tried to throw him in for a trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo, and it didn't happen. And now they're trying to figure out, is he going to be happy here long-term, or do we need to trade him somewhere else? By the way, that would be a third team I would be very interested in the Hornets talking to if they're going to part ways with LaMelo Ball, to see if you can get a player of Jaylen Brown's caliber. That has not been discussed, but the Hornets certainly have the assets to do so. But if this doesn't happen, where do things go forward with LaMelo? Because the trade reports mid-season were fairly anemic. This one has a lot of hard edge to it, and I think a lot of substance to it. To say at least, the team is saying that, yes, we are definitely open to moving LaMelo Ball. So I'd be interested to see how that relationship goes in the future if he does stay in Charlotte.
All right, so interesting. Next 24 hours, we're going to wait on you. I know you are, you said you're not sleeping well, but we appreciate you trying to get the tea for us. So we'll be.
We have a 9-month-old too. So a 9-month-old plus LaMelo Ball trade reports. I didn't expect to sleep well, Jane, but I appreciate it.
Okay. All right, Nick. We'll see you soon. Thanks for the insight, and we'll be hanging on tight here, WCNC Charlotte. Appreciate it.
You got it. Thank you.